independent, humble, talented. These were words that described Hwaeun Ellen. Well, at least Hwaeun described herself that way. Isn't she pretty? Hwaeun stared at the video Seju was showing her and Kyo. It was a performance of a Japanese idol group composed of 4 girls called Sweet Honey. The camera was focused on this one girl with auburn hair, green eyes, and a relatively large bust. Hwaeun raised an eyebrow. I knew you liked K-pop, but goddamn, to stalk the poor girl. It's not K-pop, it's J-pop. Can't you hear the difference? Seju protested. Also, you make me sound like a creep. Hwaeun could in fact tell the difference between the languages. Well, Kyo hummed, suggesting that Seju was otherwise. Shut up. What's her name? Hwaeun asked. Her stage name is Echo, but her real name is Yumiko Akamine. Gakushu, who was looking at his notes, tuned into the conversation. His mood dropped as his mouth started to taste rancid. I guess I have to agree. The hair-color-haired girl crossed her arms and leaned back into her spot. She is pretty. Gakushu rolled his eyes at the thought of his bothersome fiancé being complimented by his bothersome soulmate. She is not pretty when you meet her in person. Maybe you should take some notes, Hwaeun. Seju snickered. What the fuck is that supposed to mean? Hwaeun glared. I don't know how to be pretty. Seju laughed. I know you did not just say that. Kyo raised an eyebrow. Hwaeun narrowed her eyes at him. You're one to talk. Go watch your BTS music video and learn a thing or two about having the right pitch. You know, as someone with perfect pitch, Kyo added, she's not wrong. I'm joking. Seju chuckled and pat her on the shoulder. Hwaeun's pretty. Hwaeun deadpanned as Kyo confidently nodded in agreement. Hwaeun's hot as shit. I stan her more than any idol out there. Just not as much as Akamine. Kyo comically smacked Seiji on the back of the head. At the sound of the comment, Gakushu almost threw up. Comparing his soulmate and his fiancé was not something he planned to do today, but he couldn't help but continue listening to their conversation. I think I would say that I'm average. Hwaeun childishly pouted and looked away from the two of them. She played with a lock of her hair, then pulled it behind her ear and messed at the ends of her strands for comfort. I'm not perfect, but I'm not horrendously ugly either. Gakushu rolled his eyes at that comment too. She's correct about being average. He took a small glance back and then looked away. He could recall how she would fix herself up for work. Although, it's like she's a different person when she's at work. Gakushu found himself thinking back to the night before. Hwaeun sat as far away from Gakushu as possible. She had been avoiding eye contact with the strawberry blonde by staring at the window on her right, so Gakushu couldn't exactly see her expression. It wasn't like he wanted to see her face, since he was staring out the window on his left, but that was until they had come to an abrupt stop. Her head slammed forward, slightly concerning Gakushu. Is she alright? He scowled. When the car started moving again, her head leaned back into its normal place. After moving for a little longer, her head leaned against the window. Upon further inspection, he concluded that she was no longer awake. She's asleep. Gakushu rolled his eyes at the carelessness of the girl. As they drove past street lamps, light would glow on her skin-colored face. He would glance every now and then at those long, short eyelashes that would bat at him so delicately. Fate deadpanned in his reflection of the window. Sometimes I want to tell you both to stop checking each other out and just snob already. Gakushu glared at the window. Am I wrong, though? Fate pointed out. The amount of times you've thought she's pretty, but won't admit it, is astronomical. He wanted to reply with a curt no. However, he didn't want his chauffeur to think he's insane. By the way, Fate sang, you're not off the hook yet. Gakushu stared in disbelief at himself. Fate raised their crossed fingers with a cheeky grin. Consider me your loyal friend. Gakushu inwardly groaned. After a few more minutes of the drive, Hwan had woken up when she felt a way too familiar turn. Once the car came to a stop in front of her apartment complex, she stepped out. Before she shut the door, she had a frustrated and embarrassed expression on her face as she leaned down to look at Gakushu. Despite not being able to see her expression from the dim lighting, he could tell that she was aggravated and flustered. Now, Hwan was stubborn, but she wasn't rude. She had manners and knew when to show her gratitude. Thank you. Badum, badum, badum. Gakushu heard his heart in his ears as he felt his face heat up a bit. Don't mention it, he replied, crossing his arms. Hwan's face heated up in denial. I wasn't talking to you. I was talking to the chauffeur. Gakushu's previous emotions quickly faded. The male in the driver's seat beamed. You're welcome, miss. Good night, Asano, she said in a soft voice. It had no spite in it, no malice at all. It was a genuine and tender goodbye. Gakushu's previous emotions quickly returned. Badum, badum, badum. And with that, she shut the door and approached the door to her apartment. Fate quickly reassured, Don't worry, you're not going crazy. It's part of the whole soulmate package. You'll know when you're actually going crazy for her. Don't worry, you're not going crazy. It's part of the whole soulmate package. You'll know when you're actually going crazy for her. Tanaka-san, why haven't we moved yet? Gakushu asked his chauffeur, ignoring Fate, who watched as Hwan entered her home. Any good gentleman would make sure that she entered her home safely before leaving, Tanaka advised, moving the gear stick to pull out of the parked spot. I suppose, Gakushu hummed. Is she the young master's friend? Tanaka asked curiously. No, he curtly replied. I see. Tanaka chuckled. Forgive me for assuming. You guys aren't friends. Fate snickered. You're soulmates. Gakushu directed another glare at himself in the window. Hello everyone, I know it's very late to be publishing or posting, but that's just my schedule. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Have an amazing morning, have an amazing evening, have an amazing afternoon whenever you're listening to this, and I'll see you guys when I see you guys. Goodbye everyone.